Sports professor Rick Horrow, keeping score beyond the scoreboard, all things business, all things politics, legal, deal-making, news. In the world of sports, we've had this conversation in a number of contexts before, and we understand now that anywhere from 70 to 75% of column inches, as they're defined, or internet space, or content areas, focus not on the X's and O's anymore, but on deal-making, legal, marketing, endorsement, business, how to break into the business, how to stay in the business, how to be relevant in the business, and introducing a new segment, and not just because of it's off-season and we're ready for football and other sports, but Savannah Padron, who's now involved with Horrow Sports Ventures in the context of a college insider, but also kind of getting in the business and the eyes and ears of people in that world. How's that intro? You good with that?
Yes.
Good.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Good. So here's Savannah. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the world of the business. And
thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about your world, what you're doing. You were at Jupiter High, and now you're a third year rising junior, I guess it is, at FSU. You just finished a summer, kind of getting ready for the fall schedule, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, yes. I played sports growing up in high school and loved them so much that I decided to major in sports management in college, and just kind of being around the FSU community has been great. And this summer got to kind of see a different side, and just with the new stadium being built and everything, it's been exciting to kind of be in the realm of everything happening.
Well, as our contributor, there are some interesting perspectives. I know you have had a chance to take a look at what a high-powered Division I school does with their athletes over the summer to get ready for the competitive season, and you told me that you have had access to kind of football players' eyes and ears, what they do and how they juggle their schedule, and swimming. So tell us about the football guys first.
So the football, they have been training 5 days a week in the morning with a combination of running and lifting. Some days solely just on conditioning, some on lifting. And it's not mandatory necessarily to stay over summer to train, but they are expected, if they do stay, to attend every practice as if it was in season, and if they choose to go home, to be come back in better shape and just as good a shape as the people that stayed are in. And it's mainly focused on strength and speed in comparison to in-season, which is mainly focused on size and strength and practicing with the full team. And, of course, it's kind of similar with swimming, of course, because it's not really much difference with the training, and it's also not mandatory for them, but swimming also is individual sports, so they're sole focus is 100% whatever their strength, gaining weight, because they're losing that in the pool and they're swimming. So it's just they're both kind of similar in the training aspect and being around town, but it's really up to the individual athletes and how hard they're training and et cetera.
So the bottom line really is that college D1 scholarship athletes are really adept at juggling. They're better jugglers than most other human beings at 18, 19, 20, 22 years old. Their schedule's pretty massive, right? And they also have to prioritize.
Right, and of course over summer they have a less academic workload, so they're able to completely focus on their training. But during the season, these athletes have a practice in the morning right before their full day of classes. And the average FSU student is just strolling into class at 9 a.m. complaining that they're up that early, when these athletes have already had practice and have more to go after school ends, and then at the end of the day maybe have to type a paper or write an exam the next day. It's impressive how they can juggle it. And some of them are involved in more than just sports and school. They're in clubs and Greek life, and that's very time-consuming as well.
You've got a couple of different perspectives of D1 athletes. Football, especially at FSU, with the Jimbo Fisher regime, is used to excellence, top 10, every minute accounted for. and the swimming program, I guess, is pretty significant. But as you said, individual sports, what are the biggest kind of differences and the biggest similarities between the athletes that you've talked to in both sports?
I think the biggest difference is just their personal, like the times is very mornings and then do your thing during the day and then have another practice at the end. But I say just also like with football and sports, with team sports, you're watching a lot of film and seeing where you can do better, and that is the difference. And the swimming is your personal, and your time is all on you, and just trying to excel and be out. And also, if you think about it, just football players are competing for a place on the field. If you're not only competing to be the best player you can be, but you're practicing to be that person to switch out and just carry the team. And especially if you go home, you're not in the coach's eyes all summer of training, so you have that much more to prove when you come back. And I know that the football players' training camp is very successful because that's the first time they're all together again without any classes, so they can spend that time just truly working on their last-minute things before the season comes around.
The obvious conclusion is D1 athletes have it hard, and they get scholarships, but they certainly work for them. But other than that, give me your kind of overall perspective of what it's like from those two sports as you've kind of witnessed it over the summer.
I just think that just playing sports when I was growing up and the amount of time and effort just putting into your personal training and then trying to balance that, and just talking to them, they're both very driven, and it's mainly just building themselves up over summer while they can. And I think personally over summer was when I could always excel because nothing else is really stopping you. You can have your sole focus on it. I remember 5-hour practices coming home, just being able to relax. That must be nice for them just in the summer, putting in all your work and just coming home. So it's interesting to see, and just I miss sports, of course, but I can't imagine having their workload and everything on top of training.
And you miss your big time Tallahassee and nightlife, which I'm sure is an inspiration to all of us. So listen, this perspective is interesting. Let's shift to your perspective for a couple of minutes as well. Going to FSU, sports management program as well. There are a lot of people who will be listening and viewing our podcasts and shows in a similar position, either wanting to get into a program, just getting out of the program. What do you hope to get out of it, and what are your goals?
Out of FSU sports management, I would think, just because if you're a Knoll and you're in the community, you know that it's just the tradition and the spirit is amazing, and being a sports management major is a great school to attend. After graduating, I think going through these classes and with the faculty, I'll be able to have the knowledge and confidence. An FSU alum has been known to be able to with networking with the staff, set up students with internships and positions out of school, because go Knowles, of course. And this fall, when I get into my core classes, I hope to network just through not only the staff, but also like the classmates that have similar goals and people that we're all just trying to network in this industry, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think most important thing is networking, obviously. And if there is, can you get specific at this point about sports administration, sports management, sports finance, law, business, any advice, having started your journey, for people about taking a general set of courses versus focusing on one area?
I would say just myself, because I haven't particularly picked a direct path. I just am keeping my mind open. But they offer from sports marketing, sports law, governance, ethics, just human resource management. There's so many paths you can take, and I think the most important thing is to just try to get hands-on experience where you can and when you can, and just take the opportunities you can, because it's all about pretty much experience and networking and just really knowing what you want to do and being able to perform in that when you get that entry-level job and have some background experience in what you're doing. So that's what I plan to.
I would agree as the old dude in the room that if somebody comes to me with a specific area of expertise, just out of college, I would question whether or not they have enough experience in all these other areas with the combination of law, business, marketing, administration, all of those classes. And it's a lot of it is just the same set of facts and a little bit of a different perspective. So I would completely agree with you. Right,
and you need to know a little bit about everything and anything you do. I think you can't just solely focus and kind of turn your head because they all kind of interconnect in the end anyway.
Words to live by. You got to know a little bit about everything, and if you get into business and you deal with that attitude, it's going to be great. So we'll do this on a regular basis. Obviously, you're going to be kind of the eyes and ears of people who are kind of similarly situated around the country, whether in college, in high school, just getting into the field. And I'm sure there will be questions that people may want to ask through you that my 900,000 years in the business may help answer. So give us the technical way. How are we going to get access to that? You have a Twitter handle, etc.
Right. So if you search the hashtag BTSB On Scene to interact just with us for a Q&A, if any questions, I can respond. Just for any people getting into the business, young people like myself, or just need advice on how to maybe pick a certain path towards the other or whichever. And, of course, you can give a multitude of advice with all your years of expertise. So
it's one more time
BTS,
on the handle, BTS, Beyond the Scoreboard, BTS.
Yes,
right?
Be On Scene, the hashtag.
Be on team. Cool. We got it. Savannah Padron, academic, athlete, perspective, seminal, but speaks for basically all college, D1, very serious, very goal-directed, will succeed in life, succeeding already, and as good as it gets. We're going to have you on a lot more, and thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Rick Horrow, sports professor, keeping score, Beyond the Scoreboard. Be back in a minute.